This event is put on by a collaboration between the NC State Sustainability Stewards and the Feed the Pack Pantry. And today we're going to give a cooking demo for a recipe that is both sustainable and affordable. Basically what happened was the stewards compiled a bunch of recipes that were sustainable and that like their water usage, energy usage, agriculture, all that sort of thing taken into account to make a sustainable recipe. And then we modified that based on the variables of vegetables and pastas that the Feed the Pack Pantry had available. So this is something that can be modified depending on whatever vegetables you have, what's in season, and can be easily gotten from the Feed the Pack Pantry. So and I'm Keenan.
My name is Gigi. I'm Sarah.
And then we have our other Feed the Pack volunteers.
Hi everyone. I'm gonna get a little closer, pick up my voice. Hi, I'm Nick. And
I'm Sammy. We're both from Feed the Pack Food Pantry.
All right, we're gonna get into cooking a little bit.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, so we just cut everything up. The tomatoes we basically cut into eighths, so just cut in half, and then the quarters into halves again. And then the mushrooms, the smaller ones, be half, and the larger ones we'll cut into quarters. And the kale we just kind of cut down into smaller pieces. So, yeah. So we're going to start cooking up the tomatoes. Because of how wet the tomatoes are, they'll probably take a little bit longer to cook than other stuff. Also because we don't have a sauce that we're using. We're going to cook them down a little bit in olive oil, so that'll kind of work as like a sauce. So for this, we'll have our olive oil. You just want to pour in a generous amount, probably a few tablespoons.
Yeah, this is something that's a really nice little cooking hack, simmering down. I don't know if you guys have heard of that. It's like basically what these tomatoes are doing, their like acids are breaking down, so it's gonna be like a nicer thing to eat, and it's also gonna be like really juicy. So yeah, this is a good way. You don't even have to buy tomato sauce. This is a cheaper way to make your tomato sauce. Another thing, if you don't want to do a tomato-based thing, you could also just add olive oil and a whole bunch of spices and mix that in with your vegetables, and that's gonna be that's also one of my favorite things, like for the summertime, just like a good veggie pasta with that kind of olive oil. So Juhi just told us that tomato paste is another good alternative to tomato sauce, and it also lasts a long time. Juhi, do you know how to make it into? You just add a little bit into.
I usually buy from the stores. I've never made my own like tomato. It's really complicated, but it's nice to have like a tube or a can, depending on the recipe. You can like put down some onions and garlic, and then if you're gonna add other ingredients, and then just put the paste and then let that sizzle with the.
Do you add water?
Yeah, and then you add like pasta water.
Okay.
So, yeah, as you are,
cool.
Once you like add a little bit of water and the pasta that you're cooking, so you kind of like are multitasking one kind of pot, but like kind of what we're doing before. And I usually have made like a vodka pasta dish, so you use like cheese cream in some capacity or not, and then just like.
Oh yeah.
So if I make like a whole box of pasta, I get like a can because the tubes are like so hard to squeeze out and they're so small, or can be wasteful. So I just put the whole can. It's like a little size like this. Yeah. Sometimes more if I'm like, depending on how much flavor you want. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Share a recipe for all about pasta today.
Yeah, we are all about pasta.
Yeah, so we are also going to start cooking down some of the other vegetables. So we're going to start off with the kale. What we're going to do is we're going to end up using the same pan for both the kale and the mushrooms and the broccoli. But when you use the same pan, it's less that you have to clean later, which is also pretty handy. So we'll add a little bit of olive oil up there as well. And then throw in the kale. And with that, it also looks like our pasta water is boiling about, so we can go ahead and start cooking the pasta as well. So one of the nice things about pasta in comparison to like rice is pasta, you can drain the water when you're done. So if you're ever not completely sure, you can usually err on the side of putting in more water because you can drain it. I usually will put in about half, fill the container up to about halfway with water. But yeah. I don't know, what kind of pasta? Okay. Yeah, so I think we have egg noodles here.
Okay, now we're going to hear from our wonderful partners from Feed the Pack Pantry on a little bit about what they're doing, what they're up to. Yeah, let's get hype. Okay. There you go.
Let's hear a little bit of our audience here. You could switch to the audience camera.
Audience
Audience cam. Yes. I insist. Hey.
Ooh, what's up with the video?
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
As y'all can see, it is Nutrition Month. We are from Feed the Pack Food Pantry. That's over on Dunn Avenue in the Honors and Scholars Quad Commons. You should be able to find our pantry. We provide ingredients. So for those who are experiencing food insecurity, you should be able to retrieve those items that you would need in order to prepare. We love making these cooking demos. We love talking a little bit about nutrition. Sammy, I don't know if you want to take it away. I like to just say a little bit. We add a general idea of we like to add a lot of color to our food, make sure we know how nutritious it is.
That's right, Nick. So maybe you guys have seen our past two demonstrations. This is actually our third one, and this is our first time partnering with a campus organization, the North Carolina State Stewards. So as Nick just mentioned, we will have these ingredients available in recipe bags at the food pantry. So if you are facing food insecurity, feel free to visit the pantry to pick up those ingredients, as well as watching this video, which hopefully you're watching right now, and following along the recipe. Yeah.
I kind of want to hear a little bit more from y'all. Make sure y'all are able to get. I know I get it. I'm just gonna pull y'all into this. We're all in this together, y'all. So, I just wanted to kind of talk about what y'all think about when it comes to nutritious meals, nutrition in general, because there is a lot of things about specifically like demonizing food when that shouldn't be the case, and something that we like to promote at Feed the Pack because people need to eat, and it's something that's very important. We love to promote healthy eating, and we love to promote the access to food. So I just want to hear from y'all. What are some things that come to mind when it comes to when you just hear like Nutrition Month? Yeah. Different colors? Yeah.
Actually, one of just to kind of aim what was presented as nutritious food was not always, there just wasn't as much representation with the foods that speak to my cultural background. which is Gujarati Indian. So my parents are from India. So just seeing that there is now so much more education and awareness on that, and that I'm within myself as well, that has been one thing that comes to
No,
mind.
thank you.
Yeah.
No, I really appreciate you sharing. It really is something that's very important when it comes to especially nutrition and colonialism and stuff like that. It all just kind of ties into what is seen as nutritious. I think that's why Lauren, I believe that she describes it best when it comes to color. You know, like different items that are fun to put in your body, that taste good, that feel like home. You know, because stuff that feels like home could really be nutritious. You know, it's stuff that isn't seen as equitably as you see more traditionally. Western European foods that is more saturating the market of like, this is what's healthy, when in case that's not the complete fact, that's not the complete truth. You know, you could really get a lot of nutrition from a lot of foods because these foods have stuck for hundreds of years for a reason. Yeah. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you sharing. Do you have anything else that you want to hear? Yeah, go ahead. Whole grains, yeah, awesome. So yeah, we love using our whole grains. I believe, is this whole grain pasta?
Probably not.
Probably not. Egg noodles.
Probably gluten-free, question mark.
You know.
Well, no one is gluten intolerant here, so you're fine. If you want anything, so
Yeah, so one thing with this, I got one.
Oh,
So one thing with this recipe, the one you've done before, you can substitute out anything that you would like, add in whatever you'd like. So a good add-in for this one, if you like chicken, you can add in chicken, you can add in any kind of meat, any other vegetables that you like, any other spices. So here we chose to go with just the pasta and a good amount of vegetables, but it's really very customizable and it's up to you. So you want to update us on what we're doing here now?
Yeah, so right now we're still just cooking down the spinach. As you can see, it's already decreased in size a lot. And the tomatoes are still simmering. Again, you can see the tomatoes, because of how wet they are, there's a lot of water, versus the spinach is not like that. But here you could, the kale, sorry. But you could go ahead and add in seasonings here, or you could add them at the end. It's really personal preference. I think we're gonna add them in at the end, just for simplicity, but you can season as you cook if you want, or you can season at the end, whatever you're feeling. So I think we're actually at the point where we can probably switch out the kale for the mushrooms and the broccoli. So I will go ahead and do that.
look at this color, y'all.
yeah, it is.
If y'all could smell through your screen, you would be wanting to.
Here's a few more colors for us right
Hear
here.
me? Is that perfect? I'm loud.
So someone just asked, how do we decide ratios? I'm gonna go ahead and take a shot at that question. I feel like it's really personal, what you're trying to eat. Like, I personally love vegetables. So honestly, if it was up to me, I like eating vegetables by themselves. Of course, you gotta eat some pasta sometimes. So I would go half and half. I feel like in most cases, there's more pasta than vegetables. But I do think it's very personal. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say, me personally, I think sometimes it depends on how many veggies I have at home, what I bought at the farmer's market. So for example, if I had bought a bunch of veggies and stuff might be going bad, I might just cook all of them, because it's better to eat a lot of veggies in 1 or 2 days with your pasta than it is to let the food spoil. Or some days, if I only have one head of broccoli, I might just not have a lot of veggies with my pasta. So I think a lot of it depends on what you have at a given time. Are you making a specific recipe that calls for certain things, or if you're kind of winging it? I know that's what I do a lot of the times, especially when I'm cooking pasta, just kind of working with what you have. So that might also change it.
Yeah, and I think she mentioned one good thing. It's just thinking about the day holistically. Like if you're having this for dinner, don't just think about dinner. Think about what you've eaten for breakfast and for lunch. Like if you ate a lot of bread and a lot of like sources of carbs that day and you haven't eaten any vegetables, maybe increase like the amount of vegetables that you want to eat now because you haven't gotten that intake in for that day yet. So, but I think it all comes down to being really personal. It's a personal choice. Yeah, go ahead.
So like going back to what I was saying with proportions to pasta to vegetables, I usually cook 1 box of pasta, and depending on the pan that I'm using, I just try to fill it up. And so I don't measure anything out specifically. Like if you're like, oh, what if I have too much vegetables to pasta ratio? I think generally like having a pan covered and then adding more as you like, and kind of just like a hat. That kind of helps for general reference, just like covering it up. But I know sizing is kind of hard to make sure you have an adequate amount of things depending on your preference.
Yeah, and it's an important piece of sustainable cooking to use like basically whatever is in your pantry. Not only that, but also whatever's in season. And so we talked about this a little bit last time, but basically the idea of food that's local is going to be in season. Like if you're going to a place where local food is served, the food that's in season is going to be what you're going to find there. And so that means it's going to be transported less miles before it gets to your plate, which is a more sustainable option because we have less energy and oil usage, and the food is also going to be have less preservatives. It's going to be fresher. So we really recommend utilizing. We have a great farmers market down the road, and we recommend utilizing that and eating with what's in season. You can find that easily by looking it up online, or we have it detailed in our Sustainable Food Systems Cookbook. Small plug. Yeah. Yeah.
So the pasta here is really cooked down. You can tell that it's really soft, and it seems like it's ready. So what I'm gonna do is to go ahead and drain that. Just in a drain over this.
Yeah, and while he is draining that, what we have right here is, as you can see, the tomatoes are still simmering. At this point, they've gotten really soft. So I've kind of been able to go in and mush them up a little bit. So we're getting closer to that sauce-like texture. So with tomatoes, when you're cooking them like this, you want to cook them at a low heat for a long period of time. That also keeps them from burning. And then when you're cooking your vegetables, sauteing your vegetables like we are right here, you usually just moving them around, keep them from burning on the bottom. Also, if you feel like they're starting to burn or they are starting to burn, usually you can add a little bit of oil, and that'll also help. Or you can turn the temperature down. I take us a minute to do this just because we do have so many veggies and they wouldn't all fit in the pan at once. So cook some of them first, cook those down, and then add the others.
As I was sharing, Learning Gardens is located right behind Carmichael near the basketball and tennis courts. We are an edible patch that was actually built in 2015 by Ann Spafford, but we are boosting the site and adding more edible aspects and also pollinator-friendly and native plants there. So currently there is rosemary that's right by the stairs. I wish I had a picture to show you all where it's located, but that's where I just picked up some rosemary as I was coming here. So that's from the garden.
Yeah, thanks, Juhi. So yeah, we've got herbs like rosemary, basil, oregano, parsley. That kind of thing can also be found in dried form, just in the grocery store. And also another great staple seasoning is garlic and onion powder. That'll be your friend in any savory dish. So that's what we've got a mixture of right now: garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, and then a mixture of those dried herbs. And we just wanted to shout out our pasta water that we saved. It looks a little weird, but it's really good stuff because, as Juhi was saying earlier, you can add it to tomato paste, and it'll make your sauce a little bit more, it'll dilute your sauce a little bit. It also is good. And a sustainable way to use this pasta water is to save it and put it on your plants. It's got a lot of really good nutrients that come out of the pasta, and it'll just give your plants a little bit of a boost. Wait until it cools before you do that, but it's a good thing. So yeah, Sarah, do you have any updates?
We are going to cook the second part of the broccoli and the mushrooms. I also think we'll go ahead and add in the fresh herbs just so they can cook down a little bit.
Something that we use a lot is in Caribbean dishes is plantains. And depending on how they're prepared, we love to use them as like tostones. I don't know if y'all salt and seasoned. We also have the maduros, fried plantains. So great. Love to have it. Yeah.
So this is our fresh rosemary. We're just going to add this in with those vegetables over there just so they're cooked down a little bit. But yeah, that's what it that's what it looks like.
Shout out to the rosemary. All right. Yeah, so definitely really cool. We use a lot of fiber when it comes to like our beans and rice. Oh no. So tostones? So basically they're I wish I'm a chef, honestly. I think a lot of the preparation is with the plantains, you're pressing them and frying them. A lot of the preparation when it comes to these plantains are fried. That's in order to get more of its savory taste. So what we get from the plantains is either sweet or savory, basically. And with the tostones, I wish I had the full recipe, but I think it's just the preparation of the pressing down of the plantains, and then you fry them, depending on how you prepare them. But then we also use a lot of pork. We use a lot of chicken, steak, just a lot of basic meats, and prepare them differently. It's a lot of sweetness. There's a lot of rice. There's a lot of beans. It's very traditional of a Caribbean diet, and something that I miss greatly. But I got to just start cooking them here. But yeah, something that I also like to do is explore different different options that I could take to make some of my favorite dishes here. What are some dishes that y'all would like to see? What are some dishes that y'all are nostalgic for? Look at that. Stuffed shells.
My mom used to make that every year on my birthday because when I was little, for some reason, that was all I wanted. We were given the option, we could go to a restaurant, we could, get something crazy, we could get something expensive like sushi, and I was like, I want cheese, I want pasta.
Period. Stuffed shells we're hearing. I'm gonna just walk into the audience. Hi. All right, anything from here? Oh yeah, go ahead.
Something that I would like to see that reminds me of home is my mom cooks a lot of dals, and a lot since I'm from Western India or Gujarat, we cook dals that are really a little bit sweet and spicy. So we have this one with mung bean, which is a green lentil, and we cook that up with tomatoes as well. So it's just a lot of spices. And it's, the herbs that we use for that is just a curry leaf, which is neem, I think. And, but so that's a tropical plant, and so that really gives the flavors. But it has a lot of other spices too, like mustard seeds and asafoetida powder, chili powder, turmeric, cilantro.
Thank you. Yeah, so a lot of plant-based options that you have, and definitely bringing in a lot of that seasoning. That's really important. Something that kind of strays away from a traditional like chicken and vegetable nutritious meal that you hear a lot about. But do y'all have any other options? Yeah, go ahead. No.
So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and add our seasonings into our pasta sauce, our tomatoes, and just let that sit for a couple minutes. But otherwise, our veggies are pretty much done being sauteed. As you can see, we had a lot of bowls of veggies before, but we're gonna have not as much because I think these will all fit in this one big bowl, which is super great. So, yeah.
So I'll take this opportunity to do a little bit more talking about sustainable cooking and sustainable food systems. So I'm wondering if anyone has heard the term sustainable food system before? And if you had to give a definition, what would you say that it was? Any of you? Specifically those who I know don't know it. Throwing that there.
Trying to reduce waste and sourcing your food from probably more local rather than mass consumption that have negative impacts both environmentally and ethically, and honestly from equity across different veterans we've had, whether that be racial inequity or
Yeah, that's really good. You pretty much hit all the points that we wanted to hit. Yeah, so going down the list, first of all, local, super, super important for all those reasons that we just pointed out. It's going to reduce the time from the food. We like to say in Sustainable Food Systems, reducing the time from the ground to your plate for all of your food items. And so that will just reduce the processing time or amount of processing. That'll reduce the amount of time and space the food has to travel. It's also supposed to be much better for you nutritionally because you'll have typically like gut microbiome is going to be similar to that of where you grew up. And so if you are eating those foods from the place where you grew up, you're going to have a lot healthier microbiome, which is something that I learned recently. And okay. No, that's all I got. I don't know that much about microbiomes, but I know it's important. And yeah, so eat local is a really good thing for that reason. Also, reducing food waste, a huge way to do that, which is kind of like the overall message of our cookbook is that within cooking, you have a lot of room for error and a lot of room for manipulating the recipes to have different amounts of different vegetables, different ratios of different things. So not being afraid to kind of test the waters in that way. For example, in this meal, we basically we didn't know the exact amount of vegetables that we were going to get. We were just like, whatever vegetables that we were given, we cooked, and whatever pasta we were given, we also cooked. And this is what we've got, and it's going to be a great meal. So basically just cooking whatever you have in your fridge, whatever you need to use up. That will reduce waste. Buying from local markets will also reduce waste and like plastic packaging and that kind of thing. So we are looking like we're nearing the end of our recipe, which is really exciting. But does anyone else have any? Oh, yeah.
So what are we seeing over here? What are we adding into our broccoli and mushrooms? What are we
Yeah,
seeing
so
over
our
here?
vegetables, we just added salt and pepper to them just so the seasoning is in all of the pasta or more evenly distributed. We added in cumin spice mix as well as some cumin and basil to the sauce. So this has a lot more spices in it, but sometimes adding it to like the veggies and stuff too just make it a little better, a little bit more flavor. But Yeah, and then over here what we're doing is because we have a lot of food and we can't really mix it all in one big bowl, we're kind of splitting it up and then we'll mix it in two of these, these casserole dishes, yeah.
Find the greenest plantains that you're going to find out there. Yeah. And what's going to happen is you're going to be smashing those, and then you're going to be frying those up in the hot oil. And from there, it's going to come into a very soft on in the inside, very crispy on the outside. You could season that with salt. And it's so good. I love it. It's typically not served on your own. Typically, it's as like a side to a main course. It's the same thing with maduros. They're not like isolated plates typically, but they can be as like a little snack, as I've seen done a lot. You do actually see, if it is going to be incorporated into a meal, that's going to be sort of used as like, think of it like as a tortilla in a way. Like it's going to be holding some like some bell peppers and some, typically you're going to have like shredded meat. And with that, you're going to like ropa vieja. I don't know if y'all have had that before. It's literally translated like old clothes. But it's like shredded beef, I believe. That's put all together with a lot of bell peppers served on rice. And typically you're going to have that on top of the tostones and kind of like eat it straight off. But yeah, definitely super good. What's up? You use a lot of cilantro, garlic, lime. Definitely. That's my favorite fruit is a lime. A little lime plug, shameless. Any lime fans in the audience? Key lime pie. I'm about to be talking about limes all day now. Definitely a great option. I love using different citrus fruits within my meals. You could use a lot of lemon zest in multiple different types of meals. You could also use lime, really depending on what type of palate you're looking for. But if we're going when it comes to the Caribbean dishes, you're using a lot more of those tropical plants with the West African influence. So if you're looking at like mofongo, Puerto Rican dish, that's sort of in the area of like a tostón, and that's a main meal tied into a lot of different. Yeah. So what next?
Yeah, so our portions are a little funky for the veggies. So what we're going to let you guys do is when you come up and get your food, you're going to take some pasta, however much pasta you want. And then also you can choose to take however much sauce and veggies you want. Just be cognizant of the fact that we are sharing with each other. But yeah, so when you come up to get your food, feel free to take as much as you like. It's likely that we might have stuff left over at the end as well. So if you can always come back up and get more if you're still hungry. But yeah.
Y'all have been such a great audience. Do you have anything to add? Thank you so much. Give yourselves an applause, honestly. We appreciate your participation. We've got some great definitions about sustainability. I'm really excited that y'all are able to participate with us. Raising awareness on food insecurity and being able to do that sustainably is something that we're really looking out for as a goal. If we're going to talk a little bit more about Feed the Pack, we're just going to reiterate it's open to anyone that's a part of our Wolfpack community. So faculty, staff, students, anyone with that Unity ID, you should be able to go in if you're experiencing food insecurity, pick up the ingredients that you need and take those once a week. And with that, do we have anything from the stewards?
Yeah. So we want to reiterate how grateful we are to the Feed the Pack Pantry for our wonderful partnership today. Just wanted to reiterate the concept of sustainable food systems, sustainable cooking, and the fact that anyone can cook. So also note on, we have a compost here. We have bamboo plates, which are also compostable. Yes? Yes. They can find the book. Good question. So with our email like, I don't know if it's in the flyer right now, but with an email that we can send out after this, we can send you the QR code. We have a website version of this, and we also have like some limited hard copies, which people can feel free to take home with them. They feel like they can share it with their friends and families, and like if you would rather have the hard copy of it, you're welcome to take one as well. Thank you for the question. But yeah, I think we're pretty ready. If you want to start forming a line, I guess over here. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and just for safety reasons, if you guys need anything other than what is out, so the silverware and the serving spoons you have, let us know. We just need to be very careful, and we can do it for you or we can sign a waiver. For example, if you needed something like cut, we did have an incident last time, so we're just trying to risk risk mitigation. But otherwise, you guys are welcome to go.
Get on it.
All right, so for the people watching at home, on behalf of Feed the Pack, thank you guys for watching. Stay on the lookout for our future food demonstrations. From Nick and I, maybe we'll have new partnerships in the future. And our meal kits will be at the pantry if you need them. And if you need anything else, feel free to drop by the food pantry to ask any questions or email us. And check out our website for items that we need to be donated. And thank you guys for watching. Bye, y'all.